so Spasti here is going to demonstrate a little bit for us on some balance and pulling harness work. And so a couple of things that I want you to see here. This harness comes from Active Dogs, and it's what we use for some of our mobility dogs. A couple of things, you'll see that it is fleece lined around the bottom here. It's also padded on the top back here. There's a little handle. It does, turn him around, sit. It says service dog on the back of it, and on the front of it, there's a chest plate that says mobility dog. It's also padded. He's like, come on, mom, give me the treat. Hey, turn over here. Sit, good boy. So it's padded on the front, which is important to absorb shock on the chest here. So this is where a lot of people come into problems when they have dogs that they're using for mobility and they're wanting to use them for pulling and balance work. Now, this is not a breed that I would typically place with somebody for pulling or balance work. This is something new that we've just started doing. I have breathing conditions and I get fatigued easily, especially with the altitude change. It's gotten a lot worse here lately. I have taken him hiking a couple of times and he's shown a lot of interest in pulling me up the mountain. He's doing it pretty well on command. And so we're going to start a little bit of that today and talk about turning it into an actual command and some actual task work. And so the number one important thing is that when we start this, that we have a dog that's already nice on leash, that they're already walking politely on leash. Because if you've got a dog that's already pulling and we start teaching them to pull on command, they're going to pull more when you don't want them to pull. And when you have mobility issues, fatigue issues, the last thing that I want you doing is having to pop on your dog all day long and get dragged by them. Spasti, come. Good boy. So we have two modes of walking our dog here. I've got my leash. And so what I want him to learn is that when we are walking on the leash, the rules are the same as always. We don't put any leash pressure. However, what I want him to start to learn as an anticipation behavior is that when I grab this and put a little bit of pull onto it, I want him to pull. Good boy. Giving me some forward movement. Come here. So these are fantastic for people who have knee problems and have trouble getting up out of a chair. I like this harness. It does have a clip on it so you can put a longer handle. Spasti's very tall and I'm not very tall, so it works out really well for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the command pull and I'm going to toss the treat and he's going to naturally pull after it. So we've already rewarded this behavior a little bit and now we're going to sit, stay. We're going to create a distinguishment between me having a hold of his harness, stay, and me having a hold of the leash. Okay, good boy, good boy. So I did not start that out. Sit. When I want him to pull me, I'm going to grab this and lift up on it. So he's learning, if you watch this harness move up on him, he's learning that this means he needs to anticipate that I'm going to ask him to pull. Good boy, good boy. And so right now, I'm not asking him to pull my whole body weight. Spasti, come. Spasti, hey, come here. So now, I'm not asking him to pull my whole body weight. All I'm asking him to do is put pressure in it and to keep that forward momentum. So we're starting from a sit, and a lot of times I'll have people sit down in a chair and do this. If you have a partner, then sit. We can work with the partner as well. Sit. And this is how we do solo. Now, some dogs get way too excited when we toss a treat on the floor and they blast off and they can actually injure you. So it's important that when you're working with a trainer that they know how to continue this and to keep the dog from, dislocating your shoulder, because a lot of the dogs that we're using for mobility are quite large. Come over here. Good. Sit. Spasti, sit. Good boy. Come. Sit. Good boy. So, again, this time I'm going to grab his leash. Sit. I'm going to give just a little leash pressure when I ask him to sit because I want him to know I have your leash now. Stay. I'm also going to give him a stay command. Nope. this is a behavior we've previously proved. Stay. Throw a second one. Sit. Sit. Stay. So this is a behavior, like I said, we've previously proved, but now I'm asking him to do the opposite of what I've asked him to do previously. Okay, good boy. So I want to make sure that I'm practicing these things together and practicing them side by side so that we're still getting compliance when I need compliance. Because what you can do is you can make your dog almost reactive to a treat on the ground to the point that if somebody tosses a treat at them, they're like, oh, I'm supposed to get up and drag you to that. And we don't want that. So there's a fine line there. So you'll notice that when I practice this kind of stuff, I'm practicing it side by side with a command that is non-compatible. Because we don't want to create a problem by trying to create a solution. So that's really important when we're working with our service dogs. And so when I'm walking him with the leash. I am not attaching any kind of a leash or anything to his harness. Some people will do that and they're more secure with that, and that's totally fine. I don't have any type of issues with my hands and my mobility or use of my hands, so I don't have an issue with that. So, stop to come. So I have no problem handling him just with this. Let's go. Good boy. With the leash. Good boy. Good boy. Ready? Pull. Good pull, good pull. So we move from seated to walking, and we start adding this into part of our walking routine. So when I'm working with him in the stores and things like that, I'll start working with him on going through down an aisle, and I may toss a treat out in front of me and ask him to pull. And then we start to work him off the treats, because clearly if he's a working service dog, we don't want him relying on those dog treats for his entire career. So it's important that you're working them without the treats just as much. So we use the treats to train something new, and then we work them without the treats once they get the hang of it. So anyways, there's a little service dog tidbit trick thing to do with your task work today. Hope you guys enjoy.